Good evening, everybody. My name's Keith Edmonds, and I do apologize for the lighting in here. It is a little bit dark in this room because the lighting's not the best. The discussion tonight's going to be on Module 2, but it's going to be our first major introduction, and it's going to be the focus point of this is going to be talking about understanding medieval medicine from the text, but also having a open mind type of thing. So that's where our focus for me at least is going to be tonight. The major reading focus point is the one of the articles is understanding medieval and Reformation traditions. So one of the articles that was posted, and then I'm going to kind of transition into this introduction portion of the text, which basically, after reading it, gives the reader a clear vision that medicine in the present day is always evolving, especially as we know technology is getting better, and as technology gets better, so does the issue of medicine. I mean, we can see that now with the pandemic that broke out, COVID-19 going on 3 years. The medicine that we have for that rapidly developed shows how good technology is. Now, if you compare medicine from the reading um, within the last, I'd say 50 to 75 years, it shows how far it's come. And then when you actually look at it as the reading continues, even in medieval times, medicine was almost an afterthought. Something that if someone would come in sick or a king would get sick, they would try different methods. They knew it probably wasn't going to work, but they did like the thought of it. So that's something that really caught my eye. Going into the meat of things, when reading about medical text with the open mind, it helps readers understand is how technology in the form of medicine can be taken for granted. Medicine in medieval times is described by some scholars, such as in the text, Singer views medieval medicine as barbaric, how people are just trying to save people using different types of methods. There's even a quote in there or a saying that says like they even the doctors will take a person who's just a little bit sick or isn't feeling well and put the leech on them and basically just suck the life right out of them. It's just using poor knowledge with medical techniques that really suck the life out of people, as one would say. So when it really wasn't needed. That's something that I thought was really interesting. You do see time periods. My overall conclusion, and I'm talking a little bit about time periods, states that medieval medicine can be judged over the last century in the form of scholars diving down, researchers diving down and talking about um, what was discovered during these different time periods, what worked, what didn't work, and even as technology, and I keep going back to that point of technology developing, because if technology develops, for example, back in the 70s a little bit, in the 80s, and so does medicine, there's always going to be critiquers and criticism. What worked back then? What worked in the 80s compared to the 1930s and 40s, and what didn't? What works in the 2010s compared to the 90s? And so forth. You're always going to have criticism as technology gets better. My decade, our decade, where medicine is great, we're going to have criticism now compared to the last decade and going forward here in 10 years. What works in 10 years from now that didn't now, especially with pandemic and everything going on. So I always think that as decades go on and medicine does develop, you will always have that type of criticism, especially when past events such as major epidemics and plagues play the course throughout history. Even in medieval times, you start to see that as well. So I do not know too much about medieval medicine. I'm learning as I go. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an understanding from my viewpoint. That's a little bit on this first discussion. Have a great day or evening, I should say, and I'll talk to you guys later.